Hey everyone, and welcome to the Defining Your Life podcast, where we focus on living in our purpose, practicing presence, and activating our power in each moment. I'm Marsharelle, your resident pep talk provider, and I invite you to join me as we continue to learn, lift each other up, and strive to level up together. Because we are never finished defining our lives, and it takes a village, so let's build one. Stay tuned for the episode. Hey everyone, I hope that you're well and that you are having a great week. Maybe you did something new this week, or maybe you did something that you have done before, but you did it differently this time. Whatever it was, I do hope that you did something to boost your confidence in an area that you have been lacking. Last week on the pod, I shared 3 things that we can do to boost our confidence. And then later in the week, folks from our village shared their confidence boosting habits on IG as well. I mean, there are really so many things that we can do to aid in building our confidence. And if you haven't ever given it any thought, I encourage you to take some time to think about instances when you felt your most confident. Analyze those scenarios and all the things that you did to get ready for those most confident moments in your life. All of the actions that you took leading up to those moments. How can you implement some of that into your regular activities so that, you can weave that ultimate confidence into your day-to-day? How can you show up confidently every single day? Now, this week, I want to build on the momentum of confidence by taking it a step further into the world of the bold. Boldness is like the first cousin of confidence, right? Being bold is showing courage, a willingness to take risks, being able to stake your position and not be easily convinced that you're on the wrong side. It takes gumption to walk through this life boldly. Not only do you need to be sure, but you need to have a backbone that will enable you to stand up to anyone in any space that is challenging you and your abilities. You have to stand up to those who try to intimidate you. You kind of know what I'm talking about, right? It could be those grown-up bullies that get into a position of power and want to exercise their power in an unhealthy way, often to validate themselves and mask their own unhealed trauma, perhaps from a time in life when they themselves were bullied or intimidated. Remember that while the boldest of us may be faced with these challenges, they are much more well-equipped to handle those challenges than those who remain timid. When I was growing up, my mom used to watch soap operas. Guiding Light and The Young and the Restless were in her rotation, along with my favorite, The Bold and the Beautiful. Now, I didn't pay attention because of the soap drama. I loved it because it was based in fashion, and fashion was my jam at the time. But I love seeing the faux photo shoots, the dress forms in the background, though no one was ever, really working on them. And then the glimpses of sketches that I would catch from time to time. I wanted that life as a young girl, the wealth, the glitz, the glamour, and the unapologetic attitudes that were all over the place in that soap. It was cheesy, entertaining, unrealistic, and I 100% wanted in. Surely it couldn't be that hard to achieve all of that, right? Glitz, glamour, wealth, just an attitude that just oozed boldness. But the truth is that anything that you want to achieve can be hard to achieve when you get in your own way. When you are bold, you cannot be easily swayed. You stand strong in what you know about yourself and who you are to your core. And people don't ever have to wonder about your character. Not only are you sure about who you are, but others are sure about who you are as well. It's one thing to have some confidence, to be sure of yourself and your abilities. That is the foundation of boldness. But to be bold takes being so sure that you are willing to take risks because of it. Now, maybe this is you, maybe you are confident and bold, and maybe you are not. Whatever the case, let's talk about a few ways to help build your boldness. Be curious. Have you ever encountered someone that's all up in your business that you don't know like that, but they feel comfortable enough to ask you some questions about your personal life that they had no business asking? That, my friend, is boldness. Granted, it's on the other side of the boldness that we're talking about today. You know, we don't want to bring that negative audacity, I'll call it, to the table, but it is boldness nonetheless. And I encourage you to take some of that same energy and flip it positively. No, you don't need to see what the people across the street got going on in their backyard. Stop being nosy, but you can be curious in the right spaces. An example could be trying to learn more about your customers and their businesses so you can determine how to best support them. Ask the questions, give them space to open up by being curious about what matters most to them, and then leaving space for them to respond. Now, this is like top of mind for me because my day job has been drilling this in, y'all. But it's so important in so many areas in life because it can feel awkward to ask all of the questions, right? But if you don't, how will you ever know? And knowledge is power. And power can help build your confidence and in turn your boldness because you weren't afraid to go after it. So build your boldness by being curious. Next, be clear. Folks don't question what a bold person meant when they said something. Bold people don't give you room to get it twisted, right? Because when you are fearless, you feel comfortable saying what you mean, and you have no problem clarifying it if for some reason someone managed to misconstrue your words. So build your boldness by being clear. I know this may take some practice, right? It's a whole mindset, but being clear is so important. The older I get, the more I understand the deep importance of being crystal clear, being clear within yourself about the things that you want and being able to articulate clearly your desires, your ideas, right? All of those things. So be clear. Next, be courageous. You can't be bold without courage because fear will smother out your boldness, right? We all have moves in our lives that we want to make that require courage if we want to make them. What are you afraid of? Ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen? Is it the no that you're afraid of, or maybe rejection? Remember that if there is a no or a not you on the other side of that courageous leap that you take, at a minimum, you get to move forward having known the outcome instead of wondering what could have happened one way or another if you hadn't moved forward with courage. But the only way that you'll ever know the outcome is if you take courage, step out, and try. Being bold will open up opportunities that you may have never even thought were possible because boldness has its own persona, right? People treat bold individuals differently than those who tend to shrink away. They are seen, right? You want to be seen. And by seen, I mean your intellect, your capabilities, and so on. Sure, of course, physically, that's a given. But those who boldly proclaim whatever it is that they're trying to articulate are for sure seen so much more even than the most intelligent person in the room, right? Who may have the best idea. But when you're bold, you are always seen first because no one has to go looking for you, right? And people don't want to look, right? People are lazy, right? People don't feel like doing things. So if you are making them dig deep to try to find you, that's something else on their to-do list when really you need to be worried about what's on your to-do list. And that is getting your point across, sharing your ideas, being seen, being bold. So think about it. What can an added dose of boldness do for you? Today, I'll leave you with a few words from Erica Jong. She says, and the trouble is, If you don't risk anything, you risk more. So much hinges, y'all, on the practice of being bold. Yes, you work on your confidence, you build that up, right? But let's take it a step further. How can we be bold? How can we walk through this life boldly in everything that we are, right? Who we want to be, what we represent, all of that should be crystal clear. And it starts with being clear to you. So even before you get to all of this, right, if there's some things that you need to work out around getting clarity, well, that's a story for another day. I guess that's coming to mind because perhaps we need to talk about clarity. But boldness is the key. And so let's see how many doors we can unlock with our boldness. Thank you so much for listening today. If what you have been hearing has been beneficial, please remember to rate, review, and share the pod. And follow us on social to see what the village is talking about as well. I really enjoy engaging with you all. Thank you for your participation. And I can't wait to chat with you all again next week, as well as in between time. But take care until then.